Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for our November webinar, which is part of our 2020-2021 school year monthly webinar series. Today we have essential skills for middle school students. And you are joining several hundred Texas educators that have registered for our webinar. And as always, we are recording our session, and we will follow up with a detailed email that provides a summary of everything we cover today, as well as links and access to the recording. So we also have, we always have lots of interest in career exploration and post-secondary planning, starting in those middle school grades. So today we'll have a presentation as well as a discussion. We have some great information to share with you on how to tackle teaching and counseling on topics like financial literacy, building resumes, acquiring and practicing those really important soft skills, and also enhancing student awareness on post-secondary opportunities and knowledge that builds success for high school and beyond. We will also explore how to engage parents and guardians in the process. So much really going on in those early middle school grades. So with Texas OnCourse, all Texas students, no matter where they come from or where they're headed, have a plan for success after high school. Some of you might be new to Texas OnCourse, and we are a state-funded initiative designed to improve college and career readiness and advising across the state. So we are live this morning, but we know that many educators have packed schedules, and a lot of people view our webinars via YouTube after it has been recorded. So if you haven't done so yet, please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can have access to all of our webinars as well as other videos that we create. And you can search by topic, and you can also receive those updates on our YouTube channel, which that link is right there in the middle of the slide. So we just want to quickly welcome everyone. You'll get to hear all of our guest speakers that are joining us this morning and a little bit about them. We have reserved 1 hour for our webinar this morning, so we will close out at 11. And first we have a resource spotlight from Jamie Bell on our content and resources team here at Texas OnCourse, who is our middle school program manager. And then we have our guest speaker, Leslie Puckett, who is Director of Research and Career Awareness from Workforce Solutions Capital Area here in Austin. And then we have some really fantastic district perspectives and systems. We always like to hear from teachers and counselors and administrators on what is going on in your schools. We want to know your best practices, and this is a great way to share ideas. So we have Melissa Veach, who's joining us from Calhoun County ISD. She's at Travis Middle School, a middle school teacher there. And we also have Patricia Frost, who's from Aransas County ISD at Rockport Fulton Middle School. And Tricia is a counselor there. We've also got some time to hear from everyone who's attending. We have some questions for all of you for you to use the chat box and share some ideas. And we've saved some time for some question and discussion at the end. My name's Laura Guggen, and I'm Assistant Director of Program Implementation here at Texas OnCourse. And I work with all of our districts as well as our fellowship program. We have a pilot program that's going on as well. And we work really closely with schools as well as some other states that are implementing Texas OnCourse, the academy, in our curriculum. Jamie?
Yeah, hi guys, this is Jamie Bell. I'm the program coordinator for our middle school resources. I work on developing content, editing, reviewing any content around our middle school resources. And prior to this, I taught 7th grade science and wrote curriculum for my district.
Leslie?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Leslie Puckett. I'm the Director of Research and Career Awareness with Workforce Solutions. I've been with Workforce Solutions almost 7 years, and my role includes analyzing the labor market to look at in-demand careers and translating that information into digestible formats for the public. And I also work heavily with the K-12 system to share information about careers.
Melissa?
Hi, my name is Melissa Veach, and I am a Texas OnCourse Fellow and an 8th grade college and career readiness middle school teacher at Travis Middle School for Calhoun County ISD.
Hi, I'm Tricia Frost. I am also a Texas OnCourse Fellow. I work at Rockport Fulton Middle School. I'm a counselor. I work with 6th through 6th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade here in Aransas County ISD.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. Before we get into some of the presentation, we just thought we would go ahead and get started with a quick question for our attendees. We would love to know what comes to mind when you think of essential skills for middle school students. And take a minute, think about that, and go ahead and type in your responses in the chat box. Great. I see personal graduation plans, decision-making, study skills and organization, time management, options, absolutely, self-advocacy, problem solving and character traits. These are great. Yeah, we're going to talk more about soft skills as well as career guidance and critical thinking skills, reading, writing, math, of course. These are fantastic. So we will collect these and also summarize them, but there's lots of great ideas in here when we think about essential skills for middle school students. And I think everybody that's joining the webinar this morning is going to talk a little bit about those. So we'll turn it over to Jamie Bell to talk a little bit about our curriculum and our academy.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. Today I'm going to highlight the Texas OnCourse resources that will help you teach and advise on these really important topics. Financial literacy, building resumes, acquiring and practicing soft skills, enhancing student awareness of their post-secondary opportunities, plus how to best engage parents and guardians in the process. Next. Oh, sorry. So we've chosen our content for this webinar on and our curriculum around the TEKS and other legislative requirements, such as the cross-curricular standards, HB 1026, positive character traits, and the Texas Model Student Competencies for Success. We developed a curriculum that allows students to build towards mastery of these standards. Listed are just a few soft skills that are practiced in the college and career readiness curriculum. Take a minute to review the lesson plan. These plans are designed with flexibility in mind. You have multiple options within one lesson of how you can present depending on your time and availability to your students. It's easy to identify parts of the lesson procedure that can be pulled to work in a virtual or asynchronous environment. Most of our soft skills are in Unit 1, however, practice and iteration of these skills are throughout the curriculum. Next. We have a whole unit about finances. Listed are the key topics in a sample student handout, but here's a brief description of the unit. As students prepare for their college and career choices, it's important that they understand the significance of personal financial management. Students will research and see the practicalities of paying for college and applying for financial aid, which makes their college aspirations possible. The performance assessment for this unit will have students create 2 SMART financial goals for the future. Students will create a comprehensive budget to support their plans for achieving their goals. In lesson 6.1, the search and resume, we have a template where students can begin developing a resume. It's more like a personal data sheet. They can use this to track, update, and develop as they learn new skills and gain experiences. Other topics within Unit 6 are listed along with a view of the student starter resume. Take a minute to look at these resources. Okay. So to explore post-secondary options, have your students engage in Middle Galaxy. It's an interactive online gaming experience where students can learn about top job opportunities in Texas. While playing the game, they will review descriptions, skills, and abilities for various careers. If you want more information on how to navigate setting up Middle Galaxy for your class or a deep dive in what it has to offer, there's an educator game guide. And we also have a webinar where we deep dive into discussing the game. Tama will post the links in the chat so that you can access those. We also have Share Your Road. We also have Share Your Road, which has real life and real-time career journeys that people have posted, and it's really engaging. So another resource we have to offer is our family guide, which corresponds to the curriculum. Reaching students on multiple levels within this content is key. Providing avenues in class, online, and at home makes a deeper connection to the learning. Packed with information, the Texas OnCourse Family Guide is a way to find inspiration to engage with parents and guardians. Family action steps are a great way to prompt crucial conversations between students and their grown-ups prior to endorsement selection and their transition to high school. If you're creating more virtual content, such as online newsletters or posts, use the Family Guide to highlight specific content. For those on this webinar new to Texas OnCourse, the Academy is our online professional learning resource. Help you prepare any, oh sorry, my internet is unstable. I hope y'all can hear me. Prepare any student for any post-secondary option. To get the Academy, simply click on the Tools drop-down menu and select Texas OnCourse Academy. On that page, click Educator Login to create your free account. Here's an example of the Texas OnCourse Academy layout and dashboard once the learner has logged in and wants to check their progress and explore our modules. So we've developed the Starting Early College and Career Readiness in Middle School module to deep dive into how to teach and connect our curriculum with your advising needs. And finally, any resources you discovered that could help are located in the additional resources section at the end of each module within the Academy or on our Pinterest page. Thank you guys, and now I'll hand it over to Leslie.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Again, I'm Leslie Puckett. I'm really excited to be here today to give you the workforce perspective on the essential skills that middle school students can develop, and also to talk to you about how your local workforce board can be a resource to help your students attain these skills. On to the next slide. Thank you. I'm really excited to speak with educators around the state about this topic, and just wanted to let you know that sometimes my presentation, I might talk about some local resources for my region, but this information can be found for every region of the state. So I'll talk about a few topics, as I mentioned, about the workforce board's relationship to the K-12 system, talk about some high demand careers in Texas and how you can find those careers for your own specific region. How you can help your students develop soft skills, financial literacy, and work on other skills in the classroom, how to incorporate that into your lesson plans. And finally, how the resources that the Texas Workforce Commission and Workforce Solutions have developed can help support your middle schoolers, faculty, and also parents and guardians. Next slide, please. Thank you. So some of you might have worked with your local workforce board before, but just in case you haven't, the workforce board system in Texas is made up of 28 workforce development boards. And my personal organization serves Travis County. But the great thing about the workforce board system is that anywhere you go in Texas, there is a workforce board that serves your region. And so you can click on this link to find your nearest workforce board office. You can search by zip code. So it's really accessible and really helpful. And yeah, so our goal is to help people find jobs and connect local job seekers to local employers. And so you can see here, this is an example of my organization. We have a lot of different funding streams and different services that we provide. We subsidize childcare for individuals who are in training and working and below a certain income level. And so you can see here that we've served almost 6,500 students in 6,500 children in 2019. We also provide funding for post-secondary certifications and associate's degrees. So we served many adults and young people and to get them into post-secondary. And then a large part of our services is working with businesses to connect them with job seekers. And so you can see we worked with almost 5,000 businesses in 2019. And so we do a lot of work with the adult population, but over the past few years, we've really started focusing in on the K through 12 system because it's really important for students, especially those middle school students, to start thinking about career options and start developing those analysis skills so that they can figure out how to translate their interests into a satisfying and well-paying career pathway. So one unique program that our workforce board has is the Career and Education Outreach Specialist Program. So we applied for a grant from the Workforce Commission a few years ago, and I was able to hire 4 staff who work very intensively with 5 of our local school districts. I saw a few people who from our local school districts, especially Pflugerville, who've joined this seminar, so I was excited about that. And my specialists are able to help coordinate career fairs, give presentations on in-demand career opportunities, bring employers into the class to speak to students, and other things like that. Even with COVID, we've purchased a virtual career fair platform, and we've been sharing it with our local school districts. And so there's 6 other programs in the state. So you might be in a region where there are workforce specialists, and so I've listed them here. But if not, the Texas Workforce Commission has staff who will also give presentations in the class about in-demand careers. So I just wanted to point that out. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how would you describe middle school students? So I really think that middle school students are the perfect age group to really start developing these analysis skills with, because they're curious about the world. They're not children, they're not elementary students anymore, but they're still developing those responsibility and other skills to become adults. They're impressionable. They're definitely impacted by opinions of their family members, friends, society. So it's really a good time to make sure that they have those critical thinking skills and analysis skills so that they're not pigeonholing themselves into a career that's not for them. So I really think, developing that analysis skills and helping them figure out which tools they can use to figure out what their interests are and translate those into careers. I think this is a perfect age group for that. Next slide, please. So why is it important to start thinking about career awareness at such a young age? There's a rising cost of living. Student debt is a huge concern for people and follows people throughout their lives. I have some friends my age who are still paying off student debt. It's really important to start equipping students with those tools to assess their interests and open their minds to options that they didn't know about or didn't think were for them. We at Workforce Solutions, we also think of college in an expanded definition of anything beyond a high school diploma. So that includes certifications, associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and apprenticeship programs, which I'll talk a little bit about in a moment. And so it's really important to really open students' minds to all of these options. And one way we're able to do that in the classroom is by, as I mentioned before, bringing local employers in to really humanize some of these jobs that students might not know a lot about, and talking about soft skills and financial literacy and things like that from a real world perspective. Next slide, please. And another reason that kind of goes back to cost of living and student debt, a really important statistic that always sticks out to me is that if a student does not pursue post-secondary education, there's a very small chance that they will earn a living wage, just 12% chance within 6 years of finishing high school that they'll earn a living wage if they don't have some sort of post-secondary credential or degree. So it's really important for students in that middle school age group to start thinking about all their options so that they're not floundering at the end of high school and not sure what their next step is. As I mentioned before, apprenticeships is one of those areas that we really try to bring more light to, because it's a great option for people, especially those students who like to work with their hands, like to create something, to build something, and those students who are not sure that the post-secondary, the college experience is for them. Apprenticeships that's a really good option for people. And only a high school diploma is needed in that career pathway. It's also good for people, for students who don't think that they have the financial means to go to college, because apprenticeships connect students with jobs from day one when they start the apprenticeship program. So they're earning money and working in a job and gaining real soft skills and other hard skills while they're learning and have classroom time as well. So we've really, over the past year, my outreach specialist team has been really promoting this apprenticeship model among middle schoolers so that they can start to explore careers that have apprenticeships, especially in the skilled trades like construction, plumbing, electricians, welding, things like that. There we see a lot of opportunity in those areas. And then this picture is an example of one of the events that we held with several of the local unions that have apprenticeship programs. So, and these are high schoolers, but I think we could also do it. It would be very appropriate to bring middle schoolers and connect them with apprenticeship programs as well. And then, oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to quickly mention the Department of Labor has a nice website where you can look up local apprenticeship programs in your region. Great. So over the next couple of slides, I will talk about resources that you can incorporate into lesson plans with your students and help them explore careers, soft skills, learn about financial literacy, and other things. And so, as I mentioned before, I do a lot of work with the local labor market, and I research in-demand careers. And so this infographic is just an example of, for my region, for Travis County, the major industries that are driving the economy right now. So it's healthcare, information technology, skilled trades, and advanced manufacturing. Of course, this is different for every region in the state because Texas is a very unique state and has unique regions. So you can always check with your local workforce board to find out what are the main industries that are driving the economy in my city or in my region. And then the workforce board can connect you, as I mentioned before, with local industry partners so that employers are able to provide kind of like a real-time perspective to students and able to help students really understand what all these different jobs are that are driving the local economy. Great, next slide, thank you. And so some of the specific tools that you can use with your students, there are a lot of resources that the Workforce Commission has created that I really enjoy and that my staff use in their presentations all the time. And so the high school endorsement bulletins, you'll see the graphic at the bottom of this slide, the STEM page. It's a really good way for students to start learning about different jobs that are attainable through certain endorsements. So through STEM, there are chemical technician and engineering type jobs. These bulletins really highlight some of those careers. And as far as financial planning and soft skill development goes, the Texas Reality Check is a really good resource that you can use. I really like using this, especially with middle schoolers, because it gives them an idea of how much money they will need to make to live the lifestyle that they want to lead. So it's always really interesting to see the types of life choices that middle schoolers make. It's a quiz, if you haven't used it before, that will allow somebody to make certain decisions, like I want to buy a house versus I want to live in an apartment or live with my parents. I want a luxury car versus I want a used car or use public transit. And so as the expenses start to increase, the students really get an idea of like how much money they need to really make. And it also incorporates like family. So if you want to have children, it incorporates childcare expenses. If your students want to go to a private four-year college, it'll add in that student debt. And so it's really interesting and fun to test out. You can do it, have like one brave student come up in front of the class and do it, or you could assign it as like a personal project where each student kind of goes through the Reality Check website. I also like Reality Check because once the student figures out how much money they need to make, it will give them a list of careers that will pay that amount of money so that they can see, okay, I need to make $75,000 a year. This career will pay that much money. And so they can start to think of it from a very practical perspective. Texas Career Check is also a really good one that TWC has created. That one will help a student really refine what their interests are, so their personality interests. So it's a quiz that's about 60 questions, and it'll ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you like working outside? Do you like working with a team? It'll ask those types of things. And then once the student has filled it out, it will give them information about what types of jobs might be a good fit for them based on their personality. And so I really like working with students in that perspective, because it helps them translate their interests into a career. And Career Check also has a few financial literacy components. You can compare two occupations with each other, so you can look at how much you could make, what the educational requirements are and things like that. And you can also compare colleges based on the cost, the scholarships available, and other factors like that. So it's a really nice tool as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. And so these are a few local resources that my organization has created to help with soft skill development, financial literacy, and career exploration. Soft skills, and I was so excited to see, when y'all were all listing the essential skills in the chat, so many of them were soft skills like communications, decision-making, time management, emotional regulation, problem solving, and social awareness. Those were, I just love seeing that, because those are so important. And at Workforce Solutions, we hear from employers all the time that their adult employees still don't have these skills. So, soft skills are so important to start developing at a young age, because it does take time to develop them and, be professionally successful with them. So I really like social awareness. That comes up a lot. And timeliness, getting to work on time. If you have a flat tire, call, don't just not show up. So these sorts of things really need to be taught at an early age. And so my team has developed some nice webinars that go through these soft skills, and that they're open for anybody to use. And so you're welcome to use them. They're on our YouTube site. And then financial literacy, of course, and resume building, interview preparation. A couple of other things that we've developed are some virtual resources like student career profiles that have a little bit of labor market information on them, but really go into like the day-to-day of what different careers are like. And so students can really kind of envision themselves as a nurse or, a phlebotomist, that kind of thing. And then when COVID hit, we really started working on our virtual resources and created some interactive workbooks. The link here goes to both of those for middle and high school. And they really talk about the different endorsements and have links to different sites that students can explore different information about careers that can lead from those endorsements. Great. And then this is another local resources that Workforce Solutions Capital Area has developed. We realize that labor market information is a great thing to offer to students, but it can be overwhelming, especially for a sixth grader who's still developing those, analysis skills. So we try to make things very simple, and we've created this website, which is climbtheladderctx.com, and it really pulls from many different websites all into this one place. And so students don't have to click on 5 or 6 different websites to find out what they need. It just is all kind of aggregated in one place. And so some of this information on here is local to the Central Texas area, but some of it is national as well. And so you're welcome to use it, and your local workforce board might have something very similar. Next slide, thank you. And then social media. I wanted to just quickly call out social media because social media, especially with COVID, has been a very rich resource for students. It is a way to translate complex labor market information into very simple infographics, videos, and to the point posts. It's something that my team and I have really been trying to develop our skills in, especially with COVID, since everything is virtual now. And so we've been, offering webinars on different topics. And so it's a really good way to get the word out about career information and events that we're holding. So this is a post that we have here that we posted a few weeks ago for a series of entrepreneurship focused webinars. And so we try to appeal to young people by, showing that even influencers can use some help, learning how to be entrepreneurs. And so, really, all this to say that it's really important to use resources that are appropriate for the age group, and just keep in mind that especially middle school students need to use labor market information that's like easy to understand and digest, since they're still kind of learning those analysis skills. Great. And so I've just got a few more slides. I just wanted to mention quickly that, Workforce Solutions, we have a lot of resources available for adults. And so if a middle school student's family or guardian needs assistance, we are definitely here for them. Each of the workforce boards in the state is able to help unemployed individuals who've been laid off by COVID. And I know that's a lot of people in our state and in the country. So we do a lot of research about which sectors are hiring, which jobs are most in demand. And we have multiple job fairs every week. As I mentioned before, a lot of workforce boards have virtual career fairs. We have case managers and employment specialists who can connect individuals with jobs. And so we're definitely a resource around the state that can help the families of your middle school students. And then on the next slide, we do have scholarships that we can pay for training in high demand occupations. And so we have to assess what are the high demand occupations in our region every year, and each workforce board will pay for post-secondary training for adults that qualify. And so we will pay for tuition, fees, books, transportation, childcare, anything that we can do to help the individual succeed. So if you haven't worked with the workforce board in that capacity, it's a really good resource for adults. And once your students have graduated from high school, they would be eligible for this training as well, right? So in summary, middle school, as I mentioned before, is an amazing time to start helping your students really think about their career options. They're curious, they have this, they have analysis skills, so it's really good to start working with them and providing them with the tools that they can use to figure out what their interests are and translate that into careers. And your local workforce board is a really good resource to connect you with all the information that you need for your region, connect you with local employers, and also help your adults, the parents and guardians. So great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'll turn it back over to Laura.
Thank you so much, Leslie. That was fantastic information. And a lot of what you covered, we've included in a lot of our resources. And we will, of course, we had a lot of links to share, also some great ideas. So we will put that together to send out to everyone who's joined the webinar this morning. All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. I want to give enough time. We have some great district practices that our middle school staff and our fellows are going to cover now that they're joining us this morning. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Veach, who's just going to talk a little bit about what she does at Travis Middle School on college and career readiness in those 6th, 7th, and 8th grades.
Hi, and I do teach a college and career readiness class at Calhoun County ISD. It is a semester college and career readiness course, and all 8th graders take the class at our school. The whole purpose of the class is really, we just want to ease the transition from middle school to high school. We want to make our students aware of the opportunity and options and get them thinking and planning for their future. We do use the college and career knowledge assessment for students, which is really nice. We give them a pre-assessment that when they first get into class, they take the assessment, and it's really nice for a teacher because it lets me know like what areas I can focus on and which areas my students already have a lot of information or knowledge in. In class, we do use the Texas OnCourse College and Career Readiness curriculum. I use the semester scope and sequence, and some of the options and ideas that we use are Texas Reality Check, which Leslie talked a lot about. My students respond really well to this. A lot of them aren't really aware of how much stuff costs and different lifestyles. And Middle Galaxy is also one that the students really like. It exposes them to a lot of careers that they may not be familiar with in a short amount of time. And also having the video game format really works well, and they get a really positive response for that. We also concentrate on the endorsement and graduation lessons for the 4-year planning. Our district CTE counselor comes to class and explains a lot of endorsements, a lot of the class options that we have for our students in high school, and she does this over the semester, so it's not real overwhelming for our students, but they have a lot of time to kind of think and just really plan out their future with the help of our counselor and through the activities that we do in this class. So we also use the college and career readiness class to check off some of the high school graduation requirements for our students so that they're already ahead in 8th grade. Through our CCR class, every student completes an interest inventory, and those interest inventories are sent to the high school to put in their files so that they have that as a part of their 4-year planning. We do the CPR in schools where they get checked off for that, the Stop the Bleed training, and all the 4-year plans for our 8th graders are completed by the end of their 8th grade year through our college and career readiness class.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Melissa. We'll turn it over to Tricia Frost to talk a little bit about career exploration. She's got some great tips on doing career exploration in middle school grades.
The number one thing I have to say is kind of reinforce what we've heard throughout here is to start early. Don't wait till 8th grade to start career explorations. We meet with our students, our at-risk students each year talking about what they want to do after high school. And when the first time a 6th grader sits in front of us, they have the deer in the headlights look. They have no clue that they're actually going to be expected to get a job and support themselves at some point. So we definitely start our career exploration with 6th and 7th grade. Our English language arts teachers start teaching about careers and career clusters, and they utilize the Texas OnCourse curriculum in addition to the Middle Galaxy to start getting that infused there daily, so that by the time they're in 8th grade, they have a better idea of what they want to do. We also have a career investigations class for 8th grade, and ours is also a semester, and every student does take that. We teach the requirement, what the state requires that the students learn before high school, but in addition to that, we teach those soft skills. And that was the teacher that teaches that class came to us years ago and said, I really want to teach a class that teaches students how to shake a person's hand, how to look someone in the eye when you're talking to them, how to communicate. And so we told him, great, you can do that, but we also need you to teach about, career clusters and SAT and ACT. And he kind of jumped on that and enjoyed that. I saw a message in the chat when Melissa was talking and someone asked her what they offer the other half of the year because it's a semester class. In our school, they have a couple choices. They have a technology class they can do for a semester. They have a health class they can do, or they could take art for a semester. So they can choose anything to fill in that second half of the year. And then the last thing we do have on our campus, we're a Leader in Me campus. And that is great at teaching those soft skills. So instead of it being explicitly taught in a class, the teachers infuse that terminology, those 7 habits in their lessons, no matter what they teach. So every teacher on campus is responsible for making sure that they're incorporating these leadership ideas throughout every lesson. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is parent engagement. This has been kind of a passion of mine since I've been a counselor because it's been a struggle. Being in middle school, parents feel like, oh, they're getting older. I kind of want to back off and let them be their own person. But as anybody who works in middle school know that their parents are needed more now than ever. So we've worked really hard on trying to get parents involved, figuring out how to get parents involved. Last year I was in a webinar and we took on the advice of another panelist who said they set up at the middle school events, the sports events or concerts, and they set up a table and they offer information out to parents. So we definitely jumped on board with that last year. The first time we hardly had anybody come to our table. We learned if we offer candy, if we have something for them to come by and pick up, they want to come by and talk to us. So that's been a useful tool. Something we're also doing this year, one of the few good things about COVID is we've learned to embrace technology. Our principal does a Monday night Zoom meeting for parents, and she does have quite a few parents that show up. So what we've decided to do is a high school transition boot camp. And basically through once a month in these parent meetings, we're going to focus mainly on 8th grade parents. And we're going to teach 8th grade parents how to become high school parents. Because if you're familiar with both sides, it's completely different. There's almost a whole different terminology that parents are having to learn in high school. And at least our parents up to now, they've kind of been learning as they go. So through these monthly Zoom meetings, we're going to offer topics on what is a PGP, explain, what is the components of it. We're going to explain what the career pathways are, the importance of the class rank, how GPA is calculated, explaining about the top 10% admissions policy. A lot of parents, all these things are things parents need to know before their child even enrolls in high school or in a high school credit class. The other thing we've learned, thanks to COVID, is with embracing technologies, we're making our resources available online. So we're using Google Forms so that they can complete the personal graduation plan through a Google Form so parents can pull it up. If you know many middle school students, they're not really good at transporting paper to and from school. So by having these Google Forms where parents can log on and see where this form is and help their child work through it, it's going to help keep from it getting lost, and we actually get it back. In addition to that, we're scheduling Zoom meetings with parents one-on-one. Instead of in the past, if they wanted to meet with us, they had to come up to the school and we'd work on the 4-year plan with their students. Well, parents really have embraced Zoom. So we are planning on setting up meetings in the evenings and things to help the parents complete the 4-year plan with their students. We're also using this for doing our choice sheets also, for pre-registration and everything. We're gonna make those available online. So one of the few things we can thank COVID for is we're learning how to embrace technology and incorporate parents.
Thank you so much. Tricia, you are completely right. This is the first time for me as a parent that I have ever joined a parent meeting via Zoom. And some of the stuff that I used to search in the backpack for is now given to me through Google Forms and things like that. And you are completely right. COVID has really changed the way we practice. And I know, Leslie, you talked a little bit about that just in terms of how you all are sharing your resources differently in this digital age, which I think helps provide access to so many students and families that are looking for that and maybe can't come up to the school. So we'll just take a minute here. We have about 10 minutes left. And what best practices have you used to help students practice these essential skills? We've had some really fantastic ideas from our guest speakers. And things that Leslie covered. And if you want to go ahead and just share those in the chat box, that was a really great idea, Tricia, that you shared on the boot camp and some of the things that you all are doing in the classroom, Melissa, at Travis Middle School. And so take a minute and share any best practices. We will collect this information and use it as a way to sort of collaborate digitally. And then we'll have some time for questions. I know there are some questions that we do need to address, and we will definitely address those. Yeah, so I just like to point out some of the things that we see as best practices. Definitely like the parent boot camp idea. Implementing a virtual mentoring program with 6th graders and using Texas OnCourse curriculum. That is great to hear. Naviance has career exploration and strengths finder. If you're not a school that has Naviance, Leslie pointed out, and we have this in our curriculum as well, lots of free resources in terms of career assessments that you can take. And some folks out there are using Zello, even doing choice sheets and 4-year planning virtually. We are changing the way we do things for sure. An annual CTE fair, and I know Leslie also mentioned virtual career fairs. I like the 8th grade invasion, virtual 8th grade invasion where they tour the school and explore pathways. That's a great idea. First year doing virtual and career assessments. These are great ideas. And as I mentioned, we will compile them all and share them for all of the attendees. Well, feel free to continue to share any best practices. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears and make sure that we answer questions. And I know we had a couple in the question and answer. So the first question from Sandra from RGV, or the Lower Rio Grande Valley. Do they provide anything from middle school? Because we have not. Okay, so you're having issues contacting someone. I think this question is in regards to their workforce board. Leslie, do you have any advice? And if you don't, we can find maybe a contact there and follow up with you, Sandra, individually.
Right. I will have to check to see what county you're in and what region, because that area, like, there are 28 workforce boards and they're broken up by geographic region, but they should, the workforce board should provide resources for middle school. I think there might be an outreach specialist program in that area. So it might be your workforce board or one in the region. But yeah, if you have any specific questions about resources for middle school, you could also contact the Texas Workforce Commission, because they have a team who can provide information as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael had a question. Is there a Spanish version of the interactive resources such as Reality Check in Middle Galaxy? Leslie, do you happen to know about Reality Check?
That is a good question. The Texas Workforce Commission created that resource, and so
Okay.
I would have to check on that.
And I am looking offline. It does not look like currently there's a Spanish version of Reality Check. We can follow up with them directly, but I don't believe so. And Middle Galaxy is not currently in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you are on the Texas OnCourse website, we do have a lot of other resources that are in Spanish.
I would say on the Reality Check website, there's a place where you can provide feedback. So if you would like to request that it be translated into Spanish, I think that's definitely something that you could share with the Workforce Commission. I know that the Workforce Commission has been translating a lot of their resources into Spanish, their labor market information resources, and their current intern right now is bilingual and has been doing that work. So it might be an opportunity to make that request.
Thanks, Leslie. And there's another question from Alkeisha. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. So this would be an actual class or course or implemented in an existing course. I think you're probably talking about the courses that we referenced in terms of middle school. I will say that our middle school curriculum, we know there are several different ways to deliver the curriculum. And from working with school districts, we know that sometimes it is a semester course. Sometimes it is through a full year long course. Melissa and Trisha talked about semester courses in this webinar, but we also know folks are teaching the curriculum through advisory and also core classes or electives. So it basically is, customized in whatever way you need to do it at your campus or in your district. We also have several different scope and sequences in our curriculum for your format of teaching. And then there's another question, the information related to the parent virtual meeting monthly. Is that monthly meeting meaning September through May?
If that's the one I was referring to, that's going to be our second semester. We're starting in December because that's when we will start going over the PGPs with our 8th graders. And so we're going to have it coincide with that. And so it will be December to May.
Thank you, Trisha, for addressing that. Perfect. So I'm going to go back to the chat, and if anyone has any other questions in our last couple of minutes for Leslie or our middle school staff, Melissa or Trisha. Matthew's shared, you have your 8th graders take the Map My Grad quiz in Houston ISD. Megan asked, where can the College and Career Knowledge Assessment be found? So that is a link that we can add here if you give us 1 minute. The College and Career Knowledge Assessment is something that we've created at Texas OnCourse. Some of that information is in our curriculum, but we also have a link that we can share. You are welcome, Megan. I'm just scrolling up through the chat to make sure that we covered everything. And we also take an opportunity to review the chat and share everything if we have missed any questions. I am glad you all think this is great information. I'm gonna share the College and Career Knowledge Assessment link in just 1 second. Perfect. So I will share that here in just a second. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. This is where we will put this webinar recording as well as all of our webinars and videos from the monthly webinar series. And I just want to say special thanks to Leslie Puckett, who is not only a colleague of mine for several years, but also, fun fact, she's my neighbor. So we could probably wave at each other during this webinar. And Jamie Bell for covering our fantastic curriculum. I know her and her team does a great job adding in all of the lessons and things. I will go back to that last slide. And also for Melissa Veach, teacher at Travis Middle School and also Texas OnCourse Fellow. She has always provided us some really great information about what she's doing in her classroom. And same with Trisha Frost at Rockport Fulton Middle School. We had some great information about your boot camps, and embracing technology is certainly a theme as we all learn new information from COVID and new practices.